If we told you there's a type of animal that just eats basic feed and garden veggies, can live right in an old chicken coop out back, and still brings in a steady extra income every month, would you believe it? It's not chickens, it's not ducks, it's partridges. This special bird is becoming a favorite on restaurant menus, grilled, roasted, or in hot pot, and it sells for more than the usual everyday meats. But is raising it really as easy as people say? And does the money really come in that regularly? Stay with us and let's see how local farmers here are raising this bird and turning it into a real way to make money.
To turn partridges into a real money-making model, the first thing we and you need to understand is the breeding stock. Partridges started out as wild game birds, but after years of domestication, farmers have selected strong, hardy lines that eat well and adapt easily to backyard barns and lowland climates. At a glance, you'll notice their bodies are slimmer than regular chickens, with a fuller chest, firm legs, and a very recognizable mix of brown, gray, and speckled feathers. Once they're in the pen, you can spot them right away. They're true flock birds. They eat together, rest together, and call to each other in a very orderly way. So when you raise them in large numbers, you mainly just need to set up the feeders and drinkers properly, and the flock will move and settle on its own, without the chaos you often see in some chicken breeds. When it comes to stock, you and we can start with 1-month-old birds, 2-month-old birds, or hatching eggs, depending on your situation. Chicks that have already been carefully brooded are much less risky and easier to raise. Keep them warm, feed them on schedule, and they put on weight fast. One big advantage of partridges is that on the same floor space, you can keep them at a higher density than chickens. They fight less, peck each other less, and that helps you make the most of whatever space you already have. In the next part, we and you will go deeper into the housing side, how to turn those old chicken and duck sheds into a partridge setup without spending a ton of money up front.
With partridges, one of the things we and you are going to like most is that you don't have to build some fancy new barn from scratch. If your family already has an old chicken house, duck shed, or even an empty pig pen, you can totally fix it up and turn it into a partridge setup. You just need a dry, slightly raised floor with good drainage, a roof that doesn't leak, and fine mesh wire or netting around the sides so the birds can't squeeze out. The house should be airy with good airflow, but without cold drafts blowing straight through. And if it can catch natural daylight during the day, even better, because partridges really like a bright, dry, clean space. In real farms, a lot of people simply divide the house into rows of pens, put raised floors or slats up off the ground, and leave the space underneath open so the manure falls through. That keeps things cleaner, cuts down on smell, and helps prevent disease. Feeders and drinkers are lined up in rows, so whether we and you are raising a few hundred or a few thousand birds, feeding time is still quick and doesn't take much labor. In summer, we and you can add shade netting and a bit of misting to cool things down. In winter, we and you wrap the house with tarps to block the wind and add heat lamps in the areas with young birds. In the next part, we and you will look at what partridges eat every day and how to mix their feed so we cut costs but still keep the whole flock growing fast and staying healthy.
One of the big reasons partridges are catching people's attention is how simple their feed is. Day to day, we and you can just use a basic chicken feed, then mix in a bit of ground corn, some whole grain, and whatever leafy greens are already growing around the yard, and the birds still grow really well. Things like morning glory, sweet potato vines, squash or potato leaves, plus a few extra pieces of leftover watermelon or tomatoes from the garden or the market can all be tossed in. Because of that, the feed cost for partridges is often only about half of what it takes to raise chickens, especially in places where we and you have plenty of farm byproducts to use. The other big plus is that partridges have pretty strong natural resistance. If we and you keep the stocking density reasonable and the housing dry and clean, it's very rare to see the whole flock get sick at the same time. We and you just need to give them probiotics and vitamins once in a while and follow a simple seasonal health routine. In the hot months, make sure their drinking water is always clean. In the cold months, keep the house warm and draft-free and add a little heat for the young birds, and that's usually enough. Less medicine, less loss, lower input costs, and a higher survival rate. That's the quiet profit that really matters in this kind of model. In the next part, we and you will take a closer look at flock size, breeding speed, and how to control our own breeding stock. so we can see more clearly why partridges can multiply fast and bring in steady income.
Once we and you understand the breeding stock and have the housing set up right, the next step to turning partridges into a real income model is breeding and growing the flock. One big advantage of partridges is that they lay pretty steadily. If we and you take care of them properly, each hen can produce a nice, consistent number of eggs over the year. The eggs are collected clean and put straight into an incubator, just like chicken eggs, and it only takes a little over 20 days for them to hatch. The new chicks are kept in a separate brooder area with heat lamps, low drinkers, and small feeders, and once they get through this stage, they toughen up and grow fast. Because the process is fairly simple, we and you can gradually control our own breeding stock instead of relying on buying birds from outside. A healthy parent flock, good egg production, solid hatch rates, and strong chick survival are exactly what allow us and you, in a short time, to move from just a few dozen birds to a few hundred, then a few thousand, all in the same amount of barn space. Once the flock is at that level, the big questions become, who are we selling to, what exactly are we selling, and how does the cash flow cycle work? That's what we and you are going to dig into next when we talk about profit and the market for partridges.
When it comes to selling, partridges give us and you quite a few different options. First, we and you can sell starter stock to new growers, 1-month-old birds, 2-month-old birds, or even hatching eggs. Second, we and you can raise market birds for meat and supply local restaurants, grill spots, and places that specialize in wild game-style dishes. Partridge meat has its own flavor and even looks different from chicken on the plate, so restaurants find it easy to offer as something new and special, and that usually means each dish can be priced higher than the usual everyday meats. Third, there is the option of selling table eggs to buyers who want to process or cook them in their own way. The real economic advantage is that feed costs stay low because we and you are using farm byproducts, while the flock tends to stay healthy with very little loss. That means more of the money that comes in is clean profit compared with many other animals. Of course, the exact numbers will always depend on where we and you live, the season, how fast we and you can turn over the flock, and how strong the local market is. But looking at farms that have already made it work, partridges are clearly opening up a new option for those of us who want to diversify our income instead of relying only on traditional chickens and pigs. And so we don't repeat the same mistakes others have already made, in the final part, we and you will go over the most important things to keep in mind before actually jumping into partridge farming.
Looking back at the whole journey from breeding stock and housing to feed, breeding, and the market, we and you can see that partridges are no longer just some wild forest bird. They've become a pretty clear specialty farming option. They're easy to take care of, their diet is simple, they've got good natural resistance, and we and you can reuse old chicken houses and farm byproducts. And there's a market from restaurants and people who love trying something new. Put all of that together, and it's definitely a business idea worth thinking about. Before we jump in, we and you should still take time to really learn the process. Visit 1 or 2 real farms and start on a medium scale first so we can gain our own experience. Once we and you are comfortable, understand how the flock behaves and how the local market works, then it makes more sense to think about scaling up so we don't take on too much risk at once. If you feel this partridge model fits you, go ahead and drop your thoughts, questions, or your own experience in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video so we and you have more motivation to keep bringing you other livestock models that can help us all make better money from farming.